So I realized that I do need a longer video in order to talk about Russ and other rappers. You can't just do it in 30 seconds and then just cut it off because that's not enough time. Also, I wanted to turn my lights on. So, you know, I think a lot of when I look at certain artists and they're talking about like that they don't get enough like they just don't get enough respect, or they go on BET or they go on a Breakfast Club and they want to talk about things, they want to talk about their feelings. I just feel like, they are conflicted. Now, I'm not talking necessarily just about Russ. Let me clarify. When I watched Russ's entire hour-long interview on The Breakfast Club, and he gave me an epiphany about other artists, maybe even myself. Like, I really, really feel like I have been in the same position as him, as well as not necessarily getting the right respect. So, see, but the thing about me, I burned myself out early because I started out when I was so young, at 17 years old, recording and producing records and stuff like that. I must have had everybody I met was coming to my house rapping with me. I was the only one that had Pro Tools and Magic's Music Maker and Acid Pro and all this stuff on my computer. So everybody wanted to come to my house and record. And it started at 17 years old. This was like back in like 2009. So I burnt myself out early. I got tired. And then once I got tired, I just wanted to start doing other things with my life. But it doesn't mean I'm done. Some people have different peaks. Some people, they get tired and they don't want to do it anymore. They want to become a construction worker or something like that. But for instance, Tupac, all right? When he gets on an interview, he's got something important to say. It's not necessarily scripted, but it's it's thought out, first of all. It's thought-provoking. There's an idea behind it. And he's not just coming out talking about himself. He's talking about the community. He's talking about how he could fix the game. He's talking about how he could help the youth. He's thought-provoking, right? He's changing people's perspective on the game as a whole. And when I feel like somebody like Russ, the point he's missing is people don't want to get on listen to you for an hour talk about yourself. This is something I had to learn. I'm 29. This is something I had to learn. And it probably just hit me now, listening to Russ. So thank you, Russ, for giving me that perspective, because I didn't even really think about it until I saw your interview. And I watched your whole interview for an hour. It was just you and Charlamagne. When people get on and they only talk about themselves, it lacks material. People want to see what you got planned for the future, kind of like anticipation. There's a lot of anticipation with artists and music. Anticipation's half the battle. You gotta have that anticipation, otherwise people don't have anything to look forward to. They're not gonna buy it. They're not gonna buy the album. But that's kind of like the 90s. We don't really buy albums anymore. Tower Records, all that shit's gone. Going up the escalator, buying Biggie Smalls record, that shit's out of FYE. We don't do any of that shit anymore. We stay home. We tend to do our research. We tend to do a hell of a lot of research before we even go out there to the store. And even if we don't, we order it online. Or we download one little single. Hell, when I was a kid, going to Tower Records and FYE was already out of style. It was going out of business when I was a kid. We were going on LimeWire, going on the internet, downloading shit, bootlegging videos and DVDs. We didn't even care about albums at that point. We just would like listening to singles and downloading singles. So, there's not a lot of anticipation anymore. There's not a lot of thought-provoking. When people do an interview back in the day, Or let's just say Biggie Smalls. When there was an interview, it was thought out. It was planned out. I'm not saying you gotta have some writer write a script for you or ghostwrite for you or some publicist write some shit for you so that you can inspire people or so you can make people listen. But, there has to be an element of mystery and surprise. There always just has to be that. If you knew what was coming in every video game level, if you knew what was coming in the next level, you wouldn't play. If it wasn't pretty and beautiful and inspired you as soon as you saw it, the next level, you wouldn't play. You would just, this is boring. Screw this. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to beat this game, essentially. And people don't want that music. They don't want to be bored. They want to know that this is going to be something that's going to jam. And people are going to, when they hear it in the car, they want to be inspired. They want to be like, wow, yeah, man, that shit's jamming. This dude look cool as shit jamming that shit in his car. I want that album. I want what he's listening to. That shit's tight right there. That shit fits him. I want that image right there. And trust me, I am not trying to dress like Tupac or anything. I know y'all probably thinking that real heavy. I never shave my head. Okay? Don't think I'm trying to copy Tupac. Tupac had these conversations too. People thought he was trying to copy, whatever, Michael Jordan or whatever. Everybody has their style. If you could pull it off, then do it. If you have something that you like that inspires you, do it. There's so much out there for everybody. There's so much loot out there for everybody. Nobody should be hating, telling you, debating, telling you that you shouldn't do something. If you're out there trying to get your sense, do it. Because we all need to feed our family. I'm down here in a basement right now, my mother and my dog. My father's gone. I miss my father dearly. He's my best friend. He's my namesake. He's the only person on this planet that understood and loved me and cared about me. Nobody cared about me except my dad. Nobody.
I can see that, the one thing we do have in common as black people is we share that poverty. So the thug side is more closer to the poverty than me being rich. How can I come to any community center, sporting a Rolex presidential, all these diamonds, and be like, look, we, gotta. But now, when I say we, they know what I mean. I'm not saying like I live in this neighborhood and but I'm a thug, and they thugs. They can relate to. I don't even have to say that. When I come, I don't have to say I'm real. They already know that. From me being me.
I have been doing the same thing as Tupac. This is why I always said that I was more closely related to Tupac's image and kind of like inspired and emulated that more than Eminem. It was just natural though. It wasn't something that I came out swinging like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be just like this dude. I just more related myself with Tupac. Like when I would walk to school or when I would walk to Metro station in the morning, I was listening to him until the end of time. Every morning until the end of time. That's what got me through work. That's what made me feel better. And because Tupac had a mom that did drugs and my mom does drugs and stuff like that, but we just had more of a relationship like Tupac. And my mom was also kind of like Eminem's life too. I always say Eminem and Tupac. I could say any rapper in the world, but Eminem and Tupac are like the two that are more, hey, it ain't my fault that they're the best. It ain't my fault. They're just the two that I relate to the most, but more so Tupac. And it's not by design. It really is not by design. It's just by inspiration. It's just something that I vibed with better. And I'm sorry to make it about myself. I'm doing exactly what I said Russ shouldn't do. Russ, if he wanted to be really like immortal, like Tupac, I think Russ should talk less about his like inner demons and more about the material, how the material is going to inspire the world, you know. I think he did, but Charlemagne, he let Charlemagne kind of derail his conversation and other shit. You gotta kind of like take control of the conversation, take control of the interview. Even though the interview is asking you questions, control that shit. Make it your own. Fuck all this trying to appease other people. Make it your own. People want you to make it your own. People want you to appease yourself. They don't give a fuck about anybody else. They care about you, right? And I'm not saying it's weak. I'm not saying you're a whack or anything like that. I think Russ has his right head on his shoulders and everything. But the music has to be the forefront first before we start getting into these therapy sessions. The music absolutely has to be banging first. Pac didn't even have any of these types of real deep conversations. And I can't really say he never had deep conversations. Look, that is his personality. And if Russ has the same type of personality as Tupac and he wants to change the world and stuff like that, then that is and that will be. And nothing I can say can change that shit. I'm like a prophet sitting here telling people about what I saw, what's going on with the game, what's popping, what I think is cool. I'm just sharing my opinion. That's it. So, don't take it the wrong way. Actually, you want to know the truth? I'm very proud of the fact that I sat down for an hour. I watched Russ talk for an hour. I'm very proud of that. And I think Russ should be proud of that too. To know that he's got a regular Joe like me talk about him. So I'm pretty cool regular Joe. I'm the coolest regular Joe there is. I remember when I was like 17, when I very first started rapping, everybody wanted to be around me and rap with me, man. They're all like, man, let's go rap with Lonny. Let's go to his house, write lyrics and stuff. Let's go listen to him jam and stuff like that. They would have like battles with me and stuff on my front porch. They would always, try to get me to go to a Ibiza club and all this stuff and Zanzibar and DC. I was always like, nah, I ain't ready for that, man. That's just too hood for me. I should have listened to him because I would have had some video footage. What I've been lacking my whole career is videos. I think if I could give Russ any information, it would be to make more music videos, make more productions that are kind of like Hollywood. Blend Hollywood with the music, you'll be successful. All right.